One anonymous coach in the Big 12 called Deion Sanders' Colorado program a circus. But are we just going to ignore all the good things he's done for the program and for the sport of college football? Let's talk about it.
You are Locked On Buffs, your daily podcast on the Colorado Buffaloes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Buffs. I'm your host, Kevin Borba. This show is brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day for free and available wherever you get your podcasts. So make sure to like, subscribe, and follow. We are also brought to you by our sponsors over at FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Like I said, I'm Kevin Borba, host of the show, and I cover the Buffs for Athlon Sports, all things Colorado, all things college football, all things NBA, WNBA. I'm doing over at Athlon Sports. So I'm here and around talking about college football. And if you guys, first of all, if you don't know, Athlon Sports releases one of the best preseason magazines in the game out there. I've had the honor of being published in it multiple times. And every year we do this thing where an insider writes about a team, right? So in past years, I've written about Stanford because that was my beat before I changed beats. And now I've written about Stanford, Utah, TCU, and all the above, and Colorado, of course. And this year, I didn't write Colorado's this year, so I'm sure whoever did it did a great job. That being said, we do this thing where someone writes about the team, projects a depth chart, and then they also feature anonymous quotes from coaches around the conference or college football. And this is my favorite part about it, obviously outside of my writing, because it gives us an insight from an outside perspective, right? It's like, okay, someone from end the school, the coaches are anonymous. Only the person who's interviewing them knows who's saying what. And so I think it's really cool because we get to see how teams around the conference view Colorado. However, I was a bit shocked to see that Colorado, the coaches, which it was multiple coaches, it's not just all one, but they come in and they kind of ripped Colorado. This was a quote that they said, "It's still a circus." Quote, "It's still a circus." That's not an insult to Deion, but it is. They've turned over a ton in the portal, and they're trying to make it out like it's a competition-based result, but they're really going to struggle on the offensive line because of transfers again. Another quote said, "It'll be interesting to see how Deion manages the culture here. This is a roster with big holes and a lot of questions." Now, there's also some positives. I'll get to those. Let's focus on the negatives, right? It's a circus. The culture, right? There's a culture problem. It's a circus, right? Let's talk about what Deion Sanders has done for the quote-unquote culture for Colorado. For one, I think a good sign of culture in a college football program is how serious or attentive they are to academics. Well, let's circle on over to the GPA department for Colorado. 3.011 GPA, the highest mark in school history. That's under Deion Sanders. Their GPA has improved each and every year. Guess what? There's been more fan involvement than ever before. $113 million in economic impact, $72.1 million just from people visiting. So the culture, it's bad, right? It's so bad that the players are doing better academically. They're going to graduate at a higher clip, and fans are traveling from all over the United States to come see it. That's fine. The culture, right? Colorado is one of the few, and I'm not saying they don't have NIL, right, in Boulder. They do, right? But Colorado is not your Texas, who has a reported, it was denounced, but I think they've spent around 30 plus million in NIL. Ohio State's the same, just tens of millions of dollars. Colorado's not that, right? Colorado is a program based solely on players wanting to come play for Deion Sanders and his staff who have NFL playing experience or NFL coaching experience and making money on Sundays, right? I think that's a great strength of a culture, or a great sign of a great culture, right? Well, nowadays, a lot of people, when they get into college, right, it's like, okay, we have a great culture. And then it's like, oh, do you? Because a lot of your players are holding you hostage for millions of dollars. Or, oh, do you have a great culture? Because you've had 5 players leave to go chase a bag, right? Sometimes culture is stronger than, I guess, NIL opportunities. And Deion Sanders has always said, you won't get paid at Colorado. And he's not saying there's no NIL opportunities, but you're not coming to Colorado to get paid. You're coming to Colorado to set yourself up, to be paid on Sundays when you make it to the league, when you make it to the NFL, and those game checks are huge, right? Shedeur Sanders, 5th round pick, $4 million check, right? I mean, his contract is worth $4 million. Travis Hunter, he's going to make $40 million. Like, Colorado has a really strong culture, and I think it's disappointing that it's being called a circus by someone else in the Big 12, which we won't know who. And I could guess why they called it a circus, right? As I pause to sneeze. Bless you. Thank you. Bless you. Thank you again. Little Quinnen Williams there. I think I know why people view Colorado as a circus, right? One, there's an undertone to it. Let's call a spade a spade. We're being upfront. You guys know I keep it real. There's an undertone to it. Is it fair? No. Is it true? Yes. Do I like it at all? Absolutely the hell not. And I think it's disgraceful. That being said, people don't like Deion Sanders for who he is. They don't like the energy he brings. They don't like the people he brings around his team. They don't like the fact that he has a Netflix show, that he has an Amazon Prime show. They don't like the fact that his son has a YouTube channel, Well Off Media, that is. They don't like that. They don't like that he is sort of doing things his way, right? That being said, the things that Deion Sanders does and or says, I mean, some of it's kind of groundbreaking or new, but for the most part, he's saying the quiet parts out loud, right? When everyone was like clutching pearls, when he was like, I'm cutting people, right? I want people to leave so I can bring in transfers. Everyone was shook. Now, with rosters growing to 105, I think the number is, people are shooing guys all the time, right? It's a common thing. But when Deion said it was bad, right? Okay, it's because Deion Sanders said it. When Deion Sanders has his players set up to be popular on social media and gain a following and build a brand for themselves, it's bad, right? It's terrible. But when, say, Oklahoma State or UCF, they have the QR codes or their social media handles, and I'm not saying it was either of these programs. I don't know which coach said it. Just let me preface that. But when they did that, it was bad, right? When Ryan Williams at Alabama has a podcast, are we talking about how gone to poop the Alabama culture is? No, we're not, because guess what? That is the new era of college football. If you are a coach in college football and your program can't, one, show players that they can make it to the NFL, two, contend at the highest level, and three, grow their personal brand, players do not want to play for you. And guess what? You could do all those things at Colorado, and people could hop on me and say, guess what? They weren't contending. Last year, they were not losing Kansas away from making the Big 12 title game, which therefore means had they won the Big 12 title game, they'd probably make the playoff as the lowest ranked conference champion. But it didn't happen, obviously. But I'm just saying, they were contending, right? So the fact that Deion Sanders is constantly under fire for really doing things that every program wishes they could do, or is doing things that other programs are doing, just not as well, is blasphemy to me. Now, here's some things that the anonymous coaches and or coach said that I liked. Caden Salter is a good fit for the stuff they ran last year, and they have a lot of good transfer wideouts. Absolutely true, right? Caden Salter, and I had Brian Smith, our transfer portal insider, come on the show. I think it was Monday, so go check that one out. And we talked about Caden, what he brings to the table, right? Dynamic athlete, underrated arm talent. He has, he has an absolute cannon of an arm, can throw the ball 70 yards plus, and I think a lot of people are going to hold last year, 2024, against him because he didn't put up the prolific numbers that he did in 2023 when he was Conference USA MVP. Guess what? He lost some talent, lost a lot of players around him. It happens. Another complimentary piece that I think this person knows ball. Travis Hunter is so good, he overshadowed a really good position group in the secondary. Right now, that is their strength. If they could rework the front, the defense might be better overall. The defense was really good last year. The defense, it's a rework in the front that led the Big 12 in sacks. So, and Jaheim Otis is an All-American potential guy. I've had two people come on the show and tell me that, one of which covered him up close and personal at Bama. So, you have a really good secondary, DJ McKinney, Preston Hodge, RJ Johnson, right? You're going to get the Wyoming transfer that just came into the mix, Tion Parks, FCS transfer with a lot of potential. They have so much talent in that secondary. And I do think that the defensive front is going to be really good. The position group I'm worried about is the linebackers, not the defensive front. And then lastly, this is interesting because I just talked about this yesterday and people get upset. And I don't know why we get upset about it, because I've said this time and time again. I don't think Deion Sanders is ever going to leave Colorado for another coaching job. I think if he leaves Colorado, it's because he just doesn't want to coach anymore. And I mean, it happens. But the quote was, quote, with his son's gone, this is the year you really wonder what Deion's long-term plan is. I think Deion Sanders, and I said this because I get asked this every time I make an appearance on a show, radio show, whether it's ESPN Radio, Locked On Big 12, whatever it is. They ask me, when does he leave? Right? They're like, peek into your crystal ball and tell me when he leaves. For what job? And I honestly don't think there's a football job out there that he'd leave for. Right? Maybe the Dallas Cowboys job, if that were to open, he could coach his sons. I could see that again, but I don't see it. I think people don't realize, and this is me presuming, right? I don't know Deion Sanders personally. I'm not his best friend. I've met him in passing in terms of like, hey, I've been in the same room asking questions before, but I've literally never sat with him one-on-one and been like, tell me your deepest, darkest feelings or your deepest, darkest secrets. But I mean, every parent, I assume, goes through this, right? Deion Sanders, his daughter has transferred to, I believe it's Alabama State, if I'm not mistaken, to play basketball. His oldest son, Deion Jr., is around the program still, but his other daughter, she's adulting. She's got a kid. Shedeur is off to the NFL. He's in Cleveland. Shiloh off to the NFL. He's in Tampa. Coach Prime, for the first time in his life, or at least outside of his playing career, so the first time in 30 years-ish, is an empty nester, right? He doesn't have his kids hanging around him every day, every weekend, just shooting the you know what, just chopping it up. And I think coaching is his outlet, right? There's a reason that he keeps himself so busy, right? He has to find hobbies and things to do himself because at the same time, he is a parent with an empty nest. He is a parent who has other things and aspirations, right? He just started playing tennis, which is really random, but I just saw it on Instagram the other day. That's his new hobby. Keeps him competitive, right? He said he's looking for something to keep him competitive that he could compete in as an athlete, right? I think coaching gives him that avenue to focus on something that's his thing. And although his kids are no longer there, it is still his thing. He is building a program from the ground up. So I see what these coaches have to say. I really dislike the Circus comment. I think it's doing a disservice to all the good he's done for the program. And I do think some of the concerns are valid, I guess, from the other people, but the Circus one, absolutely not. When we come back, we're going to be talking about how Shedeur Sanders has been doing at the Cleveland Browns training camp practices, if you will, how he compares to the other quarterbacks, and what Joe Flacco has said about Shedeur and why I think people are going to hate on him, razz on him for no reason. This episode of Locked On Buffs is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live. With player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays, fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. Which players are showing up in the biggest moments? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, for one, right, leading the Thunder to the NBA Finals for the first time since they had Durant. Westbrook, Harden, right? It feels like he's always due for a near triple double, right? And then on the other side, Tyrese Halliburton, same thing, carrying the city of Indiana. The city of Indiana is hot right now. So go check those guys out because I'm confident that they're going to be making the most plays when their teams need them the most in the NBA Finals. So if you're new to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Welcome back to Locked On Buffs. Appreciate you guys for tuning in every single day, making me your first listen of the day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow so that way you don't miss out on a moment of the coverage. Let's talk all things Shedeur. So he's with the Browns. He's doing his best, right? He's fighting for a starting spot. And they made it clear, right? They made it clear that Shedeur is not going to just be handed reps. It's not going to be equal, right? The Browns are running a business, right? So they had a practice on the 28th, so yesterday, and I hadn't got a chance to talk about it yet, so I wanted to bring it to your guys' attention. Someone at ESPN Cleveland did the hard work of tracking all their throws, and Shedeur had a really solid day. So I'll go in order. It was Joe Flacco, 9 for 14, 1 touchdown. Shedeur Sanders, 7 for 9, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Kenny Pickett, 9 for 16, 0 touchdowns, 0 picks. Dylan Gabriel, 11 for 16, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Now, I think Shedeur, from all the things I've been told, all the things I've been heard, or all the things I've heard, it's one of those things where he's getting the opportunities to take reps, right? It's probably not with the first team. It's probably with the second stringers, third string guys, maybe a few first team reps here and there. But all you could do is make the most out of what reps you get. And I mean, leading the team in touchdowns, only two passes hitting the ground, pretty good, right? I think it's going to show how accurate Shedeur is, how smart he is, and how he's able to adjust to the NFL speed. Even though he's probably going to go up against backups and reserves, those are still NFL guys, right? So he still has to make the plays. And protecting the football is one thing, right? I've learned from one of the better quarterback minds in college football. I got to interview a really, really awesome quarterback mind. I won't name drop because there's no need to. But he told me when you're looking for a quarterback, you're looking for someone who can protect the football, lead the team, and make big plays, right? Shedeur Sanders is doing those things, or at least it looks like he's doing those things, right? I think the Browns have a very interesting quarterback situation. If I had to guess how it goes, I'd probably go Flacco, Pickett probably getting traded and or cut, and then or maybe him being the backup, and then the rookies, or one of the rookies as a backup, and then one of the rookies as a practice squad. Or maybe it doesn't work out for a rookie and he gets cut. I don't know. But I think Shedeur Sanders is going to do everything in his power to make sure that, hey, you have to keep me around, right? I'm making the plays. I know the offense, and he's keeping his head down. Now, I think he draws a lot of fanfare, a lot of attention. Like, I saw a reporter ask Kenny Pickett, which was probably the weirdest question I've ever seen. Not weirdest ever, but it was a unique question. She asked him, oh my gosh, I wish I could remember the wording, but it was something along the lines of like, can you feel Shedeur's aura? And Kenny was just like, no, he's a great guy, but no. And so that made me laugh. So there's going to be a lot of fanfare around Shedeur. And I think that's a good thing if he's playing well. If it's bad, if he's not playing well and you have a lot of people, I guess, talking about him, then it gets a little confusing. But as long as he continues to play well, I think Shedeur will carve out a role for himself. That being said, I want to talk about comments made that Joe Flacco, or comments that Joe Flacco said, about mentoring Shedeur and Dylan. I think it was more so pointed at Shedeur, but I think it applies to both. Joe Flacco was basically asked if he feels responsible for mentoring them, and he said no. But he also said that there's moments where he will teach them if they're willing to learn, right? And he talked about, and this is the hard part about social media these days, like we clip things any way we want, right? You could clip it and just be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe Kevin Borba said that, I don't know, LeBron James sucks. Like, and the quote was, LeBron James sucks at, I don't know, being short, or being LeBron James sucks at being an average basketball player, right? But if you just say LeBron James sucks and then you clip that, guess what? I just got clipped and people won't go back and look for context. And so Joe Flacco said something along the lines of, it's a lose-lose question when I asked if I want to be a mentor, because if I say yes, then it looks like I don't want to win the job. And if I say no, it looks like I'm not a good teammate, right? And he said there's going to be moments where they can learn from him, but at the same time, he wants to be the starting quarterback as well. And I love that mentality. And I think Shedeur and him, from all the things I've read and been told, it feels like they have a really good relationship. So I'm glad that Shedeur has a quarterback like Joe Flacco, who one is kind of on the end of his career, because it gives Shedeur a path to the field. I mean, as a Colorado person, you would want to see that. But at the same time, Joe Flacco is a class act, right? He's going to teach Shedeur all he can. He's a Super Bowl champion, one of the better quarterbacks to ever grace the league. Although I don't know if he's a Hall of Famer. I think he's a Hall of Very Good quarterback, and there's nothing wrong with that. So, yeah, really liked what Joe Flacco had to say there. And I think it's fair, right? Comment below. What do you guys think? When we come back, we're going to be talking about the games that I think are getting really interesting for Colorado. Most difficult, most fun stretch. Let's take a quick break. Welcome back to Locked On Buffs. Appreciate you guys for tuning in every single day, making me your first listen of the day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow so you don't miss out on a moment of the coverage if you're just tuning in. I'm Kevin Borba, the host. I cover Colorado and college football, the NBA, the WNBA, the NFL, everything for Athlon Sports. So that way you know where to find me when I'm not doing this. But when I am doing this, we're talking all things Colorado ball. And if you don't want to miss out, make sure to like, subscribe, and follow. A handful of times have been announced for Colorado's schedule. So I'll run you through those. Week 2 against Delaware, 1:30 p.m. Mountain Time. And then that's going to be on Fox, September 6th. Houston, 5:30 p.m. Mountain Time, Friday, September 12th. day after my birthday. My birthday's on a Thursday. Dude, I know that's how the calendar works, but I swear my birthday's been on such a whack day for the past few years. Like, give me a Friday. Give me a Saturday. Give me something sexy. I mean, my birthday's already unsexy as it is as a 9/11 baby, obviously. Give me a nice weekend, But either way, next, yeah, that's a good point, Marquine. Everybody likes going to the circus. Don't hate the players, hate the game. You're right. BYU, 8:15 p.m. Mountain Time. That's going to be a late one. September 27th, Saturday. So that's a Saturday. So those are the times that have been announced. Now, I wanted to run you through the list of, I guess, the gauntlet of schedules that I think will be, or not the gauntlet schedules, the gauntlet of games that I think will be the most difficult for Colorado this season. I think I'm looking at that final 3 weeks, right? I think the BYU quarterback situation with Jake Retzloff, I talked about with Drake from Locked On Big 12. There's a chance that he may never play again for BYU. So BYU is probably going to have an inexperienced quarterback. If he does play, then maybe I'll change my opinion. But until I know the status of Retzloff, I don't know what his future entails. I'm not confident that he's going to be playing for BYU, though. So I look at Colorado's schedule, and the final 3 weeks of November is the one that stands out to me as the most difficult because they head to Morgantown, West Virginia. And West Virginia, I don't know if they're going to be a really good team. I think they're going to be frisky. They got Rich Rod back. Morgantown's a hostile environment. That'll be tough, right? Then they play Arizona State. And I expect Arizona State to be playing for a Big 12 title this year. I don't know if they will win the Big 12 title, but I do think that they'll be one of the two teams. And then Kansas State to conclude the season, which I'm going to be previewing tomorrow, so don't miss that. We're going to have the Locked On Kansas State host come on. On the road in Manhattan, not New York, Manhattan, Kansas. And they're going to be talking. That's going to be a tough game, right? Kansas State is a team who's going to have Big 12 and college football playoff, Big 12 championship and college football playoff aspirations. So those are that 3-game stretch. I think it's going to be very pivotal for Colorado. And I think it's going to be tough, right? I think if you survive that week, those 3 weeks going 2-1, 3-0, 3-0 is best case scenario. You go 2-1, not bad. You go 1-2, I'm not shocked, right? Let's go the games I'm most excited for. I'm just going to hop around. Week 1 against Georgia Tech. I love when conferences play other power conferences. It's a good litmus test to see where teams are, and it's fun, right? Because watching Colorado play Delaware, I don't know if that's going to move me as much as them playing Georgia Tech. Good ACC team. Next game that I'm excited for, TCU. I think TCU and Colorado can have a rivalry of sorts just because of the Sonny Dykes. Or, I mean, not Sonny Dykes. I mean, Sonny Dykes was there because that's who they played for Deion Sanders' first ever game with Colorado coach. It kind of started all of this madness. It was a really fun moment. I remember the game. It was absolutely nuts. So that'll be a fun one. And then I like Iowa State. I think Iowa State's going to be a really good opponent, and I think that'll be an entertaining game. So those are the 3 games I'm looking forward to the most. Comment below which one you are looking forward to the most and why. I appreciate you guys for tuning in every single day, making me your first listen of the day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast. So please make sure to like, subscribe, and follow. It allows me to keep my job. It allows us to keep having fun. And we're nearing 8,000 subscribers, so I'd really like to get there. So do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys tomorrow.